Hello and welcome to the 42nd episode of the Dynamo Football Book Club. My name's Al Bond and I'm with published author Johnny Coughlin. Johnny, you're a very clever man, aren't you?
Published author, go on.
Oh, you're not? I thought you were like attributed some sort of book thing, researcher.
Well, I wrote a God Almighty, I wrote a chapter on like international criminal procedure in a book before, but Christ's life.
International criminal procedure, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we're dealing with here, the very level of academia here at the Dynamo Football Book Club. And that's going to be continuing on into the episode because we're talking about today the famous academic, the Romford Pelé, what's his fucking name? Ray Parlour. Ray fucking Parlour. Beauty parlour, massage parlour, Ray Parlour. And this book was recommended to us by Chris Etchingham. Chris, you're blacklisted, mate. If you were worried, yes, you are. Fucking Arsenal book again. No, you're permitted to listen still. So, Johnny, what did you know about Ray Parlour before you read this fabulous book?
Ray Parlour was around for all of the United years, and they were they were my main football watching years. Is that funny that I watched more football when United were good? But Parlour himself, I'm not sure I had particularly strong views of Parlour. There was a Robbie Savage-ish enough element to Ray Parlour, wasn't he? He was a bit of a shithouser in a way, but he was obviously a lot more likeable, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't the same sort of player, but I always thought he was a bit Paul Merson light. Like, he's like Paul Merson, just not quite as good, but in every other way, exactly the same. Like cheeky Cockney with a dodgy haircut.
Well, a particularly dodgy haircut. Dodgy haircuts.
Well, it's funny, Johnny. I mean, before we started this book, I made up my own little bingo card for Ray Parlour, right? And this is what I got down. This is what I was expecting to see in Ray Parlour's book. Eileen Drury. Bing! Yeah. Ketchup. There wasn't any ketchup talk.
No talk of ketchup.
I wrote down the words extended career, and I'm pretty sure the words Arsene Wenger extended my career appeared. Marble steps. Ding! Inspector Clouseau. Ding!
Ding, 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 ding.
Fucking Igor Stepanov story. Ding!
Yeah.
Divorce. Ding! And I also put Bergkamp heart. Ding! Yeah, that's old Dennis.
They all love Dennis.
If I'd written down Tony Adams with a bigger heart, I would have been even more right, but I didn't.
Yeah, and I do find it hard now at this point to judge these Arsenal books because nothing can be new for us. You know, I like when you think about this, they must be the single most book ratingest team or squad ever. So we've done Ian Wright, we've done Martin Keown, we've done Wenger, and now we've done Ray Parlour. We haven't done Bergkamp, Merson, Tony Adams. Like, these are all quite big books, aren't they?
Yeah, the Tony Adams book was particularly high profile at the time.
Because of the addiction stuff, presumably.
Yeah, exactly that, and because it was so pretentious. But that's not why it was famous. Yeah, why do you think that is, Johnny? A lot of people talk about Arsenal being like the media team because they're North London and a lot of journalists live in North London. I think there's probably some merit to that.
I have no idea. Maybe one of them made good money from it and they were like, here, lads, get on board. You should write a book. You'll make a few bob. Like, I just don't... I don't see now how footballers today would ever bother with a book because they can't make that much money compared to what they already earned by just... Like, a footballer now could probably play a computer game on YouTube and get more money.
Yeah, you're probably right. Nonetheless, I think sometimes it's just to, like, settle the scores, my side of the story. Oh, yeah, because there's Ashley Cole as well. We've never done Ashley Cole. I've never read the Ashley Cole book where he nearly crashed his car over the 5 grand.
Just read that one chapter. We're only like halfway through the Arsenal oeuvre. but I think we probably know all the details at this stage. Was there anything new in this book that you didn't know?
Absolutely nothing, Johnny. Nothing. Genuinely nothing. I think if I was going to appear on Mastermind, dun, 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 and what's your specialist subject? It's the early Arsene Wenger years at Arsenal. I think there's nothing you can get past me now. I've got it all. It's all up here. I know it all.
Do you reckon Igor Stefanos has written a book?
Well, they told Martin Keown he was going to write a book, and so that's why Martin Keown wrote his book. I've got to get on this immediately.
Do you remember in Keown's book the way he kept banging on about how he made a point of being really supportive of Colo Torre and other like defenders who were coming up, because he had such a hard time when he was going up from defenders that he was in competition with. It's not really the way Ray Parlour sees it in this book, is it?
No, Steve Bold was very supportive, not so much Keown. Keown really is he's a one, isn't he? He's just that kid at school, like, he's that bloke in the work meeting, and it's like, is there any more questions? And it's like, no, it's 5:20 on a Friday. Keown, put your fucking hand down, Martin. No, there's no more questions, you dick. Yeah, just that eager, keen knobhead.
Yeah, well, this is exactly what Parlour says, right? He was just too easy to wind up. So we just wound him up. I was thinking about this with Parlour. And I think Parlour is likeable probably to a point. But some of the jokes that he put in this book are so lame. And I was thinking to myself, is this joke really good enough that I'm reading about it 20 years later?
I could answer that question, Johnny. No, it's not. There's not many good. Yeah, that's what you get into the Ray Parlour book for, right? It's the anecdotes, it's the banter, and yeah, there was some pretty lame practical jokes back in the day. I mean, he even pulls up some Gaza stories, and it's like, oh, you let a parrot out in a restaurant? Okay, all right, that's not that mad, is it?
But to be fair,
I suppose it is, right? I mean, I don't know. I've never seen him let a parrot out in a restaurant, but by Gaza standards, I'm just like, that's the best you can do, Ray.
Poor old Gaza found collapsed. You saw that?
No, yeah, I know. Bloody Gaza.
Yeah. To be fair to Parlour, if you hadn't read any of the other books, and this was your first one of these books, one of the Arsenal books, this book would be enjoyable. It's light. Oh, by the way, Parlour is from Romford. So he's a Londoner. Where in London is Romford, you know?
Well, I think it's Essex, really. It's like North London. It's not really technically Greater London. I think it's Essex.
So he said he grew up actually just in the shadow of, was it West Ham's training ground, or was it the actual stadium? It's one or the other.
Yeah, his dad was a West Ham fan.
Well, he was a West Ham fan. But anyway, the guy who this was available in audiobook, which was great for me. But the guy who narrated it was like a Ray Winston character, so it was not quite as bad as that, but it was very London, like, you know.
Was he deep sounding? Did he have a deep voice? Like?
Not especially, no. But it was, yeah, he sounded like a cabbie or whatever, you know.
Yeah, because I can't really hear Parlour's voice in my head, but I imagine it's quite squeaky. I just imagine he's got quite a squeaky voice.
He has a squeaky voice face, all right. You don't listen to him on TalkSport or any of those things?
Oh, no, I haven't listened to TalkSport for some time. And I find my IQ has raised in that time. Like, it's got about 6 or 7 points.
Okay, let's dive right into Ray Parlour, the Romford Pelé.
All right, so I thought it was comparable to Keown in a way. Well, obviously, because it's all about Arsenal and the same period, basically the same book. But it was comparable because Ray Parlour seems to have boiled his career down, which was a long, long career. I couldn't check if he was still, but he's made more Premier League appearances than any other Arsenal player. Now, obviously, that's not First Division appearances, but nonetheless, that's a pretty decent milestone for Ray Parlour and not one I would have guessed. But he sort of boiled his career down to his cup final goal and the Eileen Drury incident. To me, that seemed like the two big parts of the book. And I thought Keown was like that as well. It was like, Keown, you had a 15-year career, but it's like, most people know me for like jumping in the face of Ruud van Nistelrooy. And yeah, so we start off the opening, the what's it? The prologue is just the God. We're not with the foot of the chameleon here, are we, Johnny? This is So the opening chapter is Tim Lovejoy and Bradley Walsh doing like the fan commentary for the FA Cup final. Tim Lovejoy, you remember him, Johnny?
Yeah, I do remember Tim Lovejoy. Yeah, and Helen Chamberlain.
Yes, well, that's right. She was always like, people kind of hate Tim Lovejoy at the moment. Nowadays, I think he's aged badly. He was very much like a loaded figure, wasn't he? Like a Nuts magazine sort of character.
Well, Oasis, it's just, Oasis are having this massive return. Maybe this is Tim Lovejoy's time. Maybe he can re-enter the public sphere again
with his smug misogyny. Yeah. I was party to that banter at the time, though, Johnny. I can't pretend that I wasn't. But yeah, that's it. And it became famous because someone slipped the ball through to Ray Parlour, and Tim Lovejoy goes, "Oh, don't worry, it's only Ray Parlour." And then bish, bash, bosh, goal. Oh, I was mentioning before we started this, Johnny, that I watched that goal, the FA Cup final, on a very scratchy black and white television in the Himalayas. Pretty sexy, eh? Wow.
Oh, yeah. Go on.
Yeah, we borrowed a TV off like the little boarding house we were staying at, and it was a really shitty picture. But I saw that goal, and there was like a bunch of people we brought into our little hostel in the Himalayas, Manali. Yeah, good times, Johnny. Good times. I think my friend Rob was like, he was like lying on the bed dying whilst we were all watching the FA Cup final. There's this French bloke came in, and my friend Rob had been sick for like a week with diarrhea and stuff. And we were like, "What do you think? What do you think to this older French guy?" He goes, "I think he will die." Like, sorry, Rob. Sorry, mate. Not looking good for you, brother. But we're going to watch a cup final. Get those liquids in. Poor lad.
Did he pull through, Rob?
He did. It was one of the favourite memories of my life. Suddenly, I heard from the toilet, "Solid as a rock, yeah." Is that Peter Gabriel's song? Like, Rob was singing it from the toilet. Fond memories.
So if you're watching on a black and white television in the Himalayas, you didn't really see this, because now when I look back at footage from the 90s, and okay, this is a little bit after that, but the footage is appalling. It must have been absolutely shocking on a black and white television.
It really is wild, though, how bad the footage is from the 90s, isn't it? It's
amazing.
Genuinely astonishing.
You remember when you would see something in the 90s of the 60s? And obviously it's the same kind of time difference now at this point, but yeah, it's shocking because you don't notice the big change all along, do you?
No, you don't. But yeah, you say something like some of the early games from the Premier League era, and you watch those highlights, they're like literally it's getting off VHS and stuff, like just your old videotapes your mum and dad had.
Yeah. Yeah, another thing just to say, how many times would you say he describes something as unbelievable in this book?
That's unbelievable how many times he does that.
100 times, I would say.
I could probably look that up on my Kindle here, like. Let's have a look.
Can you do that for me? Okay, let's have a competition. I'm going to say 100. And it was in that Ray Winston voice as well. That was unbelievable.
So I've got it here. It's only 16, Johnny. Only 16 unbelievables in the book.
Oh, really?
That's a believable amount of unbelievables.
Yeah, well, I had some kind of confirmation bias going on there, I suppose. Do you remember Keown's book? And he just included conversations with Tony Adams and with Wenger. Remember that? That was funny, wasn't it?
That was so peculiar, wasn't it? Because it didn't really seem that either Wenger or Adams particularly welcomed these conversations. It's just rang him up like, "Hello, you got 20 minutes?" It's, "Oh God, okay, Martin. Otherwise, you're going to just hang around."
That'd be. It seems like if I went to meet Roy Keane or something, and I was writing a book, that's the kind of thing I would do. But he's their peer. It's just so odd that he did that. But anyway, as in the Keown book, the prefaces by Wenger. Did you notice this when he said that, obviously this book, there's a lot of drinking going on. And there is fun parts in the book, for sure. And Wenger comes in and he's saying something. Sorry, Wenger says, "Oh, there's definitely some times when Ray didn't get the 12 hours sleep he was supposed to get." When was the last time you slept for 12 hours? 12.
I am
12 hours.
I'm fucking delighted if I get 6 hours. Like, genuinely, I'm so happy if I get 6 hours. If I get 6 hours, I'm like, oh, what a good day it's going to be today.
Yeah, 12 hours sleep. Christ alive, these guys.
I think I could go as far as say I've never had 12 hours sleep in my life, Johnny. I don't think I've ever had a 12-hour sleep.
My God. Footballers just sleeping through their lives. Well, then, it's funny, you know. Obviously, there's a lot of drinking. There's Tony Adams in his drinking days, and then he gives it up. And that was quite funny, wasn't it? When Adams says to him, "I've been working on a song," because he took up the piano. He's working on a song. "If you give me another, whatever it was, 8 weeks, I'll have it perfect." And then Ray Parlour said, "Fine, whatever." And then 8 weeks later, he comes in with his Casio. And it's like, "I've got that song for you," and he plays it, and it's was it? Riding on a phone. Was it that?
Yankee Doodle. Right.
Riding on a pony. And it took him weeks to get this right. So like, I suppose footballers, when they're awake, they don't have a whole pile of things to do with their time.
No, but Tony Adams is particularly blind to this sort of nonsense. Like, Tony Adams read like 3 lines of Shakespeare and then he thinks he's qualified to yak on about like what Shakespeare means in all his plays. He's a nutcase, Tony Adams. And I think it's interesting to see how significant he is, right? I mean, he is certainly the most significant player in Ray Parlour's career. And I think a lot of people say that, certainly Keown. Where is he now, eh? Where is Tony Adams? You never hear any of him. He's got zero media presence.
Well, yeah, exactly. Ray Parlour said that Tony Adams, and this was when he was off the drink, was reading books and would come in with clever words. So I was thinking, is Tony like writing down specific words that he wants to say, and then he's just coming in and making a point of saying them around the football, around his football friends. Well,
that would not surprise me at all. Like, you just learned one word today, like the pitch is almost like a parallelogram. Like, parallelogram. That's the smartest word I could think of, Johnny, with short notice. I mean, we're never going to read Tony Adams' book now because we just can't, Johnny. We just cannot read Tony Adams' book now because I can't take any more Arsenal. As you said, my God, it's been done to death. But in his book, he's so pleased with himself. He's so pleased with himself. It's like, when I stopped drinking, I suddenly realised I had an IQ of 160. It's like, no, you don't, Tony. No, it's like read 2 or 3 books. He's like, oh, yeah, look at me. Oxford Don. No, you're not.
He was drunk doing the FA Cup draw. It's not on the internet.
Oh, it's not on the internet?
Well, it's not like I spent hours looking for it, but I did look, and that's gone, man. So this is what Ray Parlour says. They have this Sunday club. Well, the Tuesday club is the famous thing, right? The Tuesday drinking club. But him and Tony Adams, they kind of came up together in Arsenal. Tony was a little bit older, but they were from near enough to each other, and Tony kind of looked out for him. So they would go drinking on a Sunday with the same bunch of lads, who I gather mostly were not footballers. And yeah, I guess it just sounds like the kind of thing that young lads get up to, right? They would all agree a time that they could leave, but no one could leave before that. If anyone did, there was a fine and this kind of thing. So they could be out drinking all day long or whatever, and they wouldn't be allowed to go home. And then one day Tony said, look, I have to go. And he broke the rules that he had imposed. And he went off and he did the FA Cup draw hammered. But yeah, I couldn't find it. It is a fun story, though, to be fair, isn't it?
Well, it's a fun story. What's more, he came back to the drinking session afterwards and paid his £2,000 fine for leaving early and put it behind the bar.
No, it was £200.
£200. All right, well, fair enough. But
that was
nice. That does sound fun, though, doesn't it? It sounds so fun. Those old drinking clubs those footballers had, it just must be magic.
I know, yeah. I'm sitting there kind of all pious and stuff. 20 years removed. Like, when I was that age, I would have absolutely loved that stuff,
Oh, it would be amazing. Not allowed to leave. It's so good. And if you do leave, you have to pay a big fine. It's so good because I would not be the guy leaving. In my experience of drinking sessions, I was very rarely the first. Oh, well, I've got to get off now. That wasn't me. It is me now, though, Johnny.
So that story that he started the book with. So, as you said, the kind of his highlight in his whole career is this goal he scored against Chelsea, and that was a few days before they won the league at Old Trafford with that goal from Silva and Wiltord. But he says that when they won the cup, they're flying back to London, or sorry, where were they going? They were going somewhere on a plane anyway. And Wenger saw him about to have a drink, and he said, "You can't drink that." And he's like, "Okay." And then he tried to go to the back of the plane where his family were, and he tried to have a drink down there. And Wenger followed him and said, "Don't drink that drink." And then he got off the plane, and then drank straight for 2 days.
Yes. Yeah, there was going to be a 30 grand fine, a week or 2 weeks' wages if he drank the beer. So he thought, well, it's not worth it. But as you say, yeah.
So then he went off drinking for 2 straight days, and then was man of the match in that game at Old Trafford. And then, like, he said he was kind of stinking of booze and stuff when he came in. And then afterwards, Wenger pulls him to one side, and he's like, "Okay, I'm in trouble here." And Wenger says to him, "Do you know the reason you were so good today, Ray?" No,
Gaffer, no.
no, Gaffer. Yeah. It's because you didn't drink that beer, or whatever. It's because you didn't drink that beer. Now, that was a nice story.
Well, I was super optimistic after that story because that comes right at the start. It's like, "That's right, boss.
That's all right, boss. That's why you're the best gaffer I ever had."
But inside he was laughing because he'd been on the piss for like 2 full days. I mean, from the sounds of it, he drank about 40 pints of Guinness. Do you think they over-exaggerate, Johnny? You know, when I was a kid and people would talk about, you know, you when you're a teenager, a bit of a boy. It's like, yeah, 10 pints. Did I ever really drink 10 pints? 10 pints is so much.
It's so much liquid. He said at one point, who was out with them? Was it Gilles Grimandi? Came out to see what they were up to, all the English lads. And there was 5 of them, and they ordered 35 pints. So that's 7 pints each. Like, why would you do that? It doesn't make any sense.
I mean, just by the time you get to the end of that 7 pint, oh, God.
I just like to have them all there in front of me. I just like to have them there. I like to be able to see all my pints.
7.
It'd be disgusting.
Oh, so warm, so flat.
One of the things that really stands out is just how proud he is of the English kind of attitude towards, you know.
Well, you need a bit of both, don't you? You've got the skill, you've got the technique, but it's not all about that. You need a whole fucking team. You need a useless cunt like me who can run and run. Get stronger in the second half.
But also,
Yes.
sorry, there's that element, but also just the kind of, you know, the French lads would meet each other in a coffee shop and we'd go for a beer. There was a lot of that, wasn't there? Even though his whole career, as he acknowledges, kind of took off when he stopped drinking. He never stopped drinking, but when he had to kind of slow down and kind of schedule and plan his drinking a bit more, when he had to take things a bit more serious. Like, I thought of Fowler. If Fowler was with Arsenal when Wenger came, his career would have been extended. But that was the thing that struck me about Fowler's book. I kind of got the sense that when that kind of pivot happened in football, it left him behind a bit. Whereas someone like Ray Parlour, who was probably more likely to be left behind if you had to guess, he kind of went with it, to be fair to Ray. And it extended his career. As you say, he got the kind of most Premier League appearances for Arsenal. So
I was genuinely shocked by that. I would never have guessed that Ray Parlour had that many appearances. He just seemed like a sort of perennial sub. I mean, you look at the players he was alongside, like Petit and Vieira and Overmars and Freddie Ljungberg and Robert Perez. It's like, how the fuck did he get in that team ever? Like, how did he get in it?
When you think of the skill that all those players had, and he's out there playing on the right wing in that team, it does seem odd. But, okay, there's not very much to say about his childhood, right? He's from London, and he had a kind of trials at Fulham. West Ham never took an interest in him. He was with Fulham briefly, right? And
he describes his dad as easy-go-lucky. Is he? Easy-go-lucky, is he? Happy come, happy go. He just says one. He's happy-go-lucky, you fucking idiot. yes, the part about his childhood was mercifully brief. We don't have to hear about his relationship with his parents at all. He had two big brothers who he played with, and that made him better at football. That seems to be a bit of a theme, doesn't it?
Yeah, same with Letizia, right? You do see that, yeah. I have a theory, and not that I've ever checked this, but I wonder, are all goalkeepers the youngest child as well? I'm sure I've said that before on this podcast, because why else would you go and goal? Yeah,
well, in your family's case, because your brother looks like Thibaut Courtois, so who else is going to go in goal?
I meant to say, I should have said this at the top of the show.
Yeah.
If the last book was a Johnny book, this is very much an Al book, isn't it?
Well, it is a bit of an Al book, yes. But
it's unbelievable.
No goats appear whatsoever. There's very little saucy business. No saucy business at all. Oh, here's a story, and this is just so 90s. Like, there's one point where I think it was him and Tony Adams stole a flower pot. Yeah, they stole a flower pot because he hadn't bought his mum a present. So they're in a fancy hotel. They stole a flower pot, got arrested, and then it was in the newspapers. Bill and Ben the flower pot men. You could just see all Bill and Ben the flower pot men. It's so funny.
Who are the flower pot men? They don't even know.
Well, that's what I wondered, Johnny. Does that mean anything to you?
No.
Now, it was like a 50s show, so obviously all our parents always referred to it. It was always Bill and Ben the flower pot men with me. There was like this like flower in the middle that just went weed, and I heard about it all the time. But I wondered if that would have any. Yeah, it was English.
But in what context would they say this to you? Why would it come up?
I don't know. If we're messing around in the garden or something with my brother, it's like, oh, Bill and Ben. If there was a flower pot in the vicinity, you were like, Bill and Ben, the flower pot man.
Okay, because it was a cop who said it to him when he was brought to the police station. And he said,
oh, that's right. Yeah, it wasn't the newspapers. Yeah,
credit to the cop. All credit to the cop. He said, the flower pot man. But apparently everyone says it all the time, so maybe not that much credit.
Well, that's what I thought. I appreciate the fact he gave the policeman credit for that. Well, you got to take your hat off to him. Got to take your hat off to him. He said Bill and Ben flower pot man, and we did steal a flower pot. So he's a wag.
Yeah. Do you think that stuff about team spirit is overrated?
Well, yes, because I meant to say that before, because as you say, like he's going here like. Well, it can't just all be about Thierry Henry. I don't know why I'm doing that voice. It's Beckham.
That was Beckham.
Well, I don't know. Just standard London, isn't it? He's like, oh yeah, you need the English element. You can't just be Thierry Henry and Freddie Ljungberg and Robert Perez. You've got to have your. But it's like, did you see successful teams on the continent? They didn't have any English blokes in there, mate. You don't necessarily read that. Like, it's like they were going like Juve in the 90s, early 2000s. Like, this is all well and good, but wouldn't we better if we had Lee Catamol? No, you wouldn't.
I was thinking exactly the same thing. It's like, does he realise that other teams have been good? Exactly that. He mentioned Emmanuel Petit, and Petit used to just come in and whatever, he would not say hello, and he would just get on with his business or whatever, and they were all kind of winding him up, and then he would say hello, and they got a great kick out of this or whatever. But do you think it has entered his head that there must be cultures in which this is totally fine, and they're excellent at football too, so it doesn't fucking matter. It is like that. That was such a kind of it was such a theme of the book, how that English spirit, that like it, not even that kind of, I suppose, banter ultimately was like the gel that kind of brought that team together ultimately. Whereas I think they had that English banter for a long time before Thierry Henry and Des Bergkamp came to town, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and then they got rid of all that banter talk, and they got way better and went to season unbeaten. Yeah. Oh, Brazil 1970 were good, but throw a David Batty in there, then imagine.
He's around the same age as Keown, right?
Give or take.
So he would have been coming into the Arsenal team. He was coming in as they were winning the league, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So he was in the youth team around that time, and then he was getting into the team after that. So he was there for all of the stuff we heard before. I'd say this for Ray Parlour. He's a What was the expression you used? He's an easy-go-lucky kind of fella. He doesn't have a whole pile of bad stuff to say about anyone. And it's not just that he's unwilling, it seems that he's unwilling to, go like attack people or stick the knife in. He does seem to have gotten along with most people. Got along with George Graham. Got along with Bruce Rioch, which apparently other people didn't. And of course, he loved Wenger.
Yeah, I mean, Wenger calls him in his preface, like he's a happy soul every day in training. And yeah, he comes across like that. He just turns up chirpy as, even when he was having his problems. And that really was, but it was only a couple, right? He had a very expensive divorce and a famous divorce.
Mm.
But he certainly wasn't in any way bitter about that, to his credit, was he?
Didn't come across as being, no. Although, like he moved house because he was getting so much stick about it. So it was obviously getting to him. Because everyone.
But that's because it was so famous. He was like a test case. The chapter's actually called Parlour versus Parlour.
What happened was his ex-wife in the divorce, she won a right to a third of his future earnings. The idea being that she had put her own her own career on hold in order to support him. That's the whole idea. That's the premise of the argument there. But yeah, that's a real legal precedent.
Yeah, legal precedents. This is your time to shine, Johnny. Lovely stuff. Get in there, son. But I remember that at the time, Johnny. I remember, and I was like, this is outrageous. Like, his ex-wife gets 30%. Now, I'm not saying it's outrageous now, but I can remember at the time it being a big deal, like the idea that your alimony would include future earnings and stuff. But again, to his credit, he's not got a bad word for the ex, has he? Not one. He was just like, we married young, married too early, probably. Not we just went our separate ways, and yeah, not bitter at all. So, yeah, credit to him.
Okay, a football-related question: has this book changed your view of Ray Parlour, the footballer? Do you think he's better now than you did before you read the book?
Yeah, I think so. He was more significant in Arsenal's success than I remember, right. For sure. I mean, if you go and name those classic Arsenal sides, right, say the 98 version, and I think I could have a crack at it, to be honest, I don't think his name would be in it. It's like, the classic Man U 11, that they talk about that classic Man U 11, which never really actually played together, but that's how, or like they played together once. And I think that's how it is with Arsenal a bit. You sort of like, certainly the Invincibles, well, I mean, it's too tedious to name them, but in my head, it's like, I could name those players and Ray Parlour wouldn't be in it. The 98 team is pretty famous, right? Everyone knows the back five. And yeah, again, I wouldn't necessarily have him in any of the first teams, yet there he was in all of those teams.
And do you think that if he had a nicer face, we would remember him differently?
It's very harsh on him, because I think he does have a nice face. It's not a handsome face necessarily.
Okay, if he had a more handsome face and a less silly haircut, would he be remembered differently? He doesn't have to look like David Beckham, but just say he looks like, I don't know, give me a kind of an ordinary looking man footballer from that period. Okay,
Steve Guppy. Okay, Roy
Keane, right? I don't think famously good looking, or not, certainly not ugly. So if he had that kind of face, would you remember him differently?
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, it's not ideal that you have to be standing next to Thierry Henry in the team photograph. It's like, look at that incredibly attractive man. Ugh, look at that mop head fucker next to him. Like, yeah, maybe. Yeah, he has just got a bit of a cheeky chappy persona, really. He's not really remembered as a He's kind of a joke. That's not a joke. I don't mean a joke, but I think that's how he's sort of seen.
You said that he spared us talking about his school. His youth, sorry, but he talked about setting some kind of record in school that stood like running a mile, that stood for like 20 years or something. So it does seem, okay, this is a school, right? And he's a professional athlete. It shouldn't come as that much of a surprise. But he talks about this over and over again, how he had this, he was incredibly quick and had this incredible engine. And one of the things that made him stand out was he would often not be great in the start of a game, but as other people got tired, he like he had this incredible engine and he could just keep going, and he tended to get stronger over the course of a game. Like, I wouldn't have associated any of that with him.
Yeah, 30, 40 pints a week, and he's getting stronger in the second half. No, I wouldn't. But yeah, he was rated, wasn't he? As he says, Graham always picked him, Wenger always picked him, Rioch always picked him. Poor old Bruce Rioch, eh? He's like, I think they said it in every book we've read about it. It's like, just old Bruce Rioch, eh? He just wanted to bang on about Bolton. It's like, with respect, Bruce, this is Arsenal Football Club.
Yeah.
You can see the fucking marble halls.
Have you seen the marble halls? But yeah, come on, Bruce. Like, no wonder the guy didn't laugh. Isn't that what Ian Wright said? Like, he kept telling him about what John McGinley used to do.
Yes. Bolton are not Arsenal Football Club, and he wants the world to know that.
But to be fair to Parlour, again, he's quite nice about that. And he doesn't.
Oh, no, he is.
He doesn't even need to be. He could be like, he doesn't have to kind of justify his rationale there. Everybody knows that Arsenal is not as big as Bolton, and everyone knows that London is not that London is a bigger and more significant place than Bolton as well. But yeah, okay. Is there much point really talking about the football other than his kind of role in it? Because we kind of know, right?
Yeah, no, I don't think there's any point at all. I mean, that's how I started off with loads of notes. And at the end, basically, I didn't need to make any notes because I basically know every single thing that happens. So this is the last stats, right? I think it's 333 Premier League games for Arsenal. So doff your cap. 5 FA Cup finals and 4 wins. Fair enough, son. Doff your cap. Like three Premier League titles. I mean, the lad has had a great career. 10 England caps, I think, and probably would have been more had it not been for the Eileen Drury incident.
Well, that's certainly his view of it.
This was something that delighted me at the time. It absolutely delighted me. I thought it was lovely. So he's on an England camp with the much maligned Glenn Hoddle. He's got a tweak. He's got some sort of injury. He's off to get some sort of massage parlour. And Glenn Hoddle's like, no, go and see this lady. And so he goes up to this like dark room, and she sort of like walks around him, and he's like, oh, what bleeding good's that going to do? A woman walking around me. And then she puts his hands on his shoulders, and he goes, short back and sides, please, Eileen. And apparently she laughed, he laughed, everybody laughed. But when word got back to Hoddle, this is no laughing matter, lads. He never picked him again. I mean, it could be that, or it could just be that Ray Parlour was a fringe of the England squad kind of player.
Well, yeah, and here he makes his case, right? So 1998, they win the double, and he's starting in that team. Okay, Manchester United have David Beckham on the right, so fair enough. And I don't think he has any misgivings about that in particular. But it is striking that he wouldn't be on the fringe of that team if he was as significant in the best team in England at the time.
Yeah, that's right. He just had that reputation as being a 7 out of 10 player. Maybe a fit and strong 7 out of 10 player, but a 7 out of 10 player. And that's what he was.
But also maybe a reputation for being that cheeky chappie. And if you're someone like Hoddle, who seems to be totally devoid of humour, Hoddle is maybe the character who's come up in most of these books, and it's never good. And he's just kind of a weird, humorless individual. So maybe he's happy to get rid of
reading his Bible on the bus.
Yeah, reading his Bible on the bus. Is Eileen Drury go on?
No, wasn't there? What was the joke he made? I think it might have been Ian Wright, and someone came in a leather coat, and like Glenn Hoddle was like pretending to be like some cowboy sharpshooter, going, "Look at you in your leather coat," and just Ian Wright just being like the whole squad just looking, going like, "Please make this stop! Please make this man stop!" Poor old Glenn.
Would you recognise Eileen Drury? I don't mean no, but I don't know what she looks like. I don't think.
I'm picturing Dot Cotton in my head from EastEnders.
Because I'm picturing the red woman from Game of Thrones.
Two very, very different.
The night is dark and full of terrors. That's what
Okay, I've got to Google her now. Let's see. Is Eileen Drury more Dot Cotton or more the Red Lady? I've got a feeling. Well, I mean that. What was it? The Red Woman, the Red Lady. Oh,
Let's just
lovely
look at
stuff.
Eileen Drury. She is very much more like.
Yeah, she's Dot Cotton there, isn't she? Yeah.
She is very much Dot Cotton. Yeah.
Imagine if they cast Eileen Drury as the Red Lady. Like, is it Red Lady, Red Woman in Game of Thrones?
The Red Woman, yeah.
Not as seductive, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was the end of it for him, and yeah, he played under Keegan. Keegan is such a.
Well, of course, he played under Keegan. I mean, that's
Keegan
the exact opposite, isn't it? Like, how many pints you had this week? 40. Get in that squad, lad.
Yeah, Keegan is the anti-huddle. Everybody just loves him.
There's a fun story about Keegan. Very quickly, they were waiting an international game. They were on international duty, and he got all the. Well, that's what he got all the lads together, and he put on some recorded horse racing. So already, your suspicions should be raised, eh? Like, oh, I've got some horse racing on video. Oh, do you? Why would you video a horse race? It being the most boring thing you could possibly watch on television. And Teddy Sheringham and Alan Shearer were like, yeah, we'll be bookmakers. And then Kevin Keegan told everyone in the squad exactly which horse won every race. So Sheringham and Shearer are absolutely out of pocket, which is fun, isn't it?
That is fun. Do you remember in one of the other books, I think it was Keown, he said that Keegan was riding around, like Parlour says he was running around smacking his ass like he was like a jockey, like. But I think in one of the other books they said he was actually riding around on something as well.
Oh yeah, like on a laundry basket or something.
In a laundry basket, that's right. Yeah. So yeah, Keegan is
oh, he's an appealing character, isn't it? Anyone who pretends to be a horse, oh, yeah, giddy up.
Anyone,
I just feel warmly towards him.
Anyone who pretends to be a horse, that's the number one criterion for you.
Good egg, yeah. Get him in the England squad. Like.
Before the whole Mark Overmars stuff with him being kicked out of Ajax he was kind of like sexting someone. That's what he was doing, was he?
Yeah, Jermaine Jennison, like some of these poor ladies at Ajax.
Would you have said he was a savoury or unsavoury character? Just at a guess, just by the look of him.
No, it's savoury. I mean, very savoury character.
Do you think so?
Oh, do you not think? I think maybe you had a different image of Overmars because you're a Man United supporter. Yeah,
I really hated him.
Evil little gremlin, whereas I just saw like speed itself. Like, he was fast.
His Arsenal career was short, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was like 2 or 3 years, but he made an impact, didn't he?
Well, so he's the one who called Ray Parlour the Romford Pelé, and there's also a story about him bringing a fart gun to a team meal.
Now, you see, Johnny, you'd say this is my kind of book. I am not a fart gun kind of man. So toilet humour, anything scatological is not amusing to me. I mean, like, sex with goats, very good. Running over your dad when you're drunk driving, excellent, carry on. But fart guns, no.
It's too far. Yeah,
too far.
These are just men who just never have to grow up, isn't it? Like, the thing for Mark Overmars, he went out, he bought a fart gun or someone gave him a fart gun, and then he just kept going for the whole night with the fart gun. Like, that is...
Yeah, that's tedious. Adults reveling in childish pursuits, I don't admire. One more thing about Overmars.
Yeah,
I like this. He was there 3 years, and apparently when he got signed by Arsenal, he just turned out and goes, Barcelona want me, I'm off. Nice knowing you. And they never saw him again. Yeah, that's the way you make an exit.
The whole thing about Parlour, I guess, is that he was the light relief, right, in this Arsenal team. So Keown was his, I guess, his victim a lot of the time. But also, it sounds like he was making fun of Wenger a lot of the time. So Wenger is kind of a Clouseau. And that's another one of those old TV things that's, kind of passes me by a bit. But I have a vague idea of what he's talking about. But some of those things are funny. About him just stretching and falling through a partition in the wall. Like, that is funny.
Well, I think it's testament to Wenger's organisation that really he can have been such a comedic figure to these players, yet still commanded such respect. You know what I mean? If someone comes in and is like, hello, and everyone's it's Inspector Clouseau, the fucking clown. And he's like, look, he's doing some straw. Oh, he's falling through the wall like the dick. But nonetheless, all these players massively respected him, which I think says something about how good Wenger was.
So one of the other things was he was at the canteen or whatever in Arsenal, and he had an apple pie and it fell off his plate and he didn't notice, and then he just went about his business, and then eventually he sat down and he went to eat the apple pie and it just wasn't there, which is obviously like very, very basic, but you can just see the scene of everybody.
No, I'm laughing away thinking about it, Johnny. That is funny, isn't it? He's thinking about it, just drops it, right? Like, wanders on back. Oh, where is my apple pie? I would just have coffee. And he just says he doesn't want it. I'll just have a cup of coffee instead. You see, that's where he's different to me, because I would have been going back from apple pie.
I liked also Cola Torre tackling Wenger. Had you heard that before?
Not what I remember. Yeah, that is sweet.
Yeah, so
Torre his first training session, he smashed Henry, and then he smashed Keown. No, he smashed Vieira.
No, it was Bergkamp, was it? Maybe Bergkamp?
Probably, Bergkamp.
But he was on trial, and then after each of these tackles, Wenger was saying, like, just take it easy, calm down.
No tackling.
And then he tackled Wenger. And Wenger had to go in. Wenger had to go in to see the physio.
I mean, just train for it. You just see a ball like floating around. You tackle it like bang. It's no matter who's there. There's one more story that is remarkable. What is it with Hong Kong and English footballers? He got arrested in Hong Kong after getting in a fight.
Yeah,
and he was worried. Yeah, 6 months in prison.
In Hong Kong.
And instead he got a £300 fine. So that's better. But then Arsenal charged him the 12 grand of the lawyer's fees.
And this is when he was on £400 a week. This is early in his career.
I learned a valuable lesson that day.
Don't get arrested in foreign countries. Good one.
His trolling of Keown. So Keown needed to get on the pitch for the last day of the Invincible season. So in that Keown book, he talks about the Invincibles thing so much, but he didn't actually play all that much. So he needed to get on the field to get a medal. And Wenger, again, kind of a comedy character, is forgetful. And he had put on 2 subs already, so there was only 1 sub remaining. And Parlour tells Keown to get out and, stretch in front of Wenger to remind him that he needs to get on.
And yeah, man, I'll just cut in, and it's just so delightful the way that everyone seems to just have contempt for Keown. Wenger's like, Martin, get out of the way. I cannot see. Get out of the way. Fucking get out. Poor old Keown.
But then Parlour takes off his gear and starts chasing up and down, trying to get on as well, just to get under Keown's skin. And Keown apparently chased after Wenger and had him by the neck. Is that true? Doesn't sound very true.
It's funny, man. It's like, well, it is embarrassing Oxford accent. Martin Keown was saying, what are you doing? What are you doing? I was always ostracised for that accent. Never one of the boys.
He was gone after that, wasn't he? After the Invincibles, which is the same with Keown. They were both kind of gone then.
It always seems to me quite interesting how arbitrary it is. He says he was happy to get off to Middlesbrough because there was a lot of heat about the divorce. Or at least there's a lot of talk about the divorce in his local area, so he was happy to get out of there. But the other thing is, he loved it up there, didn't he? He was not like one of these, I miss London, I couldn't bear living all that way away. He really got into it, loved his little house, loved the nightlife. Yeah, he really embraces things, old Parlour, doesn't he? He does seem like a good geezer.
He does. And how about that Middlesbrough team? Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, George Boateng, Bolo Zenden, Gaisca Mendieta. What the hell? It's an incredible team, isn't it?
Yeah, really good. I mean, it's amazing what Borough had back in the day. It made me really hate them. It's like, who the fuck are you, Borough, to have all these players?
Yeah, well, they're gone now again, I suppose. But the most enjoyable thing about that, of course, was the fact that Southgate took over from McLaren, and overnight he went from being like
His nickname was Gate, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's what they used to call him, right? Gate.
Yeah.
And he came in, he's like, no more Gate, lads. I'm gaffer now.
And then Ray Parlour says, what about Big Nose? And then
I
again,
thought that was Oscar Wilde that said that. Oh, no, it was Ray Parlour, yeah. The wit.
again, it's the same as the Island Drury thing, you know? As in, he was probably happy enough to drum about it there. And you could just see, you know, Southgate has obviously kind of honed this thoughtful, sensitive kind of character kind of image. But he is vaguely comical, I think, Southgate. And you can just see him trying to be that in front of all of these lads. And you can just imagine how Ray Parlour would have actually would have really fucking like gotten under his skin, like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it from both sides. I mean, obviously, you step into that role and you're like, lads, it has to be different now. But just because you're saying it has to be different now doesn't mean that anyone's going to see it that way, are they? It's just like, but yeah, Big Nose.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so he played for Middlesbrough, he played for Hull.
Yeah, I was surprised at the Hull stuff. I mean, I know this. So he was without a team and he dropped down a division. Old Phil Brown calls him up. He's training with Arsenal. And he's like, the only problem is I don't want to relocate my family to. I was like, don't worry. Just train with Arsenal during the week and just bowl up on a Friday. Yeah. Really? In the Championship? You know, like this is like the 8th highest attended league in the world. And this lad's just fucking training with a different team and just bowling up on a Saturday. I just found that remarkable that any team could sanction that.
Yeah, he was training with Arsenal, though. It wasn't, you know, his local pub team. But yeah, absolutely. And again, it must be because, you know, okay, you've got Southgate and the Hoddle. There's probably certain types of people who wouldn't like a person like Parlour within their kind of setup. These kind of maybe overly serious people. And I'm sure Southgate, maybe he kind of figured that out over time. That was the very start for him. But then there are probably other fellas who just really like the likes of Parlour, you know? And maybe Phil Brown is one such person.
Well, and again, that's what Wenger says. He's just a good influence. He's cheerful and he works super hard. And, you know, if you work super hard all the time, then, you know, if I was a manager, I'd forgive you pretty much anything. I think, again, Wenger was so good at management that he could deal with it. He didn't have maybe the insecurities that a Glenn Hoddle or a Gav Southgate would have.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly that. Do you think... if you were to use an Italian expression to describe Ray Parlour, what would it be?
We're going the old Casanetto. Casanetta.
Catenaccio. Yeah, he's a big Catenaccio, isn't he?
No, Catenaccio is the lock. That's the defensive system employed by Arrigo. Casanato is Antonio Cassano. Casanato.
Cassano.
Casanato is crazy. Catenaccio is the defensive system.
Okay, can we do that all again now?
No. Let the listeners hear your ignorance. The thing with this book is, Johnny, it started very promisingly. I was enjoying it very much. And the bottom line is, if I hadn't read 4 other Arsenal books about this period in the past couple of years, I would have enjoyed it very, very much. He doesn't fall into the trap of like going on to describe at huge length individual games. He breezes over it quite nicely. I mean, he's comfortable in his career. I think he's happy with what he achieved, and I think he probably was never going to achieve any more than he did. I mean, he really had won a lot of trophies. Yeah, and had I not read the other Arsenal books first, I would have enjoyed this very much. And I did enjoy it. And it rattles along. It's like, you know, you can read it in pretty much the time it takes you to watch a movie. I always say that, don't I?
Exactly that. You know, I knew all the stories, or like I knew a chunk of the stories. Like you say, that Igor Stefanos one we've heard a few times now, that kind of thing. Some of the Wenger stuff. But I quite like Parlour. And I think... Yeah, it was light and it was still enjoyable, notwithstanding the fact that I knew a lot of it, really. I would say that Ray Parlour is very much in the Tony Cascarino end of things when it comes to getting the most out of his talent, right? Like, okay, it sounds like he worked very hard, so maybe he would have always been reasonably successful. But I don't know necessarily would he have, like if he had his career another 10 times, would he have ended up in a team quite successful as Arsenal?
Precisely that, Johnny. I think he was probably elevated by his company. He was always surrounded by excellent footballers with great attitudes, your Tony Adams, your Vieiras, your Henrys. And they say that, right? You put an average football into a great team, that average football will achieve, it's much more likely to achieve greatness than outside of that. I'd give it 3.5 short back and sides out of 5. If you happen to have read Keown's book, or Ian Wright's book, or Wenger's book, or Tony Adams's book, I probably wouldn't bother. But if you're a big Ray Parlour fan, and I don't think there anybody is, but if you are, apart from Chris, yes, it's a perfectly good book. It's fun, it rattles along, and he doesn't come across like a brick, does he? He comes across as super.
Yeah. If you had to recommend one of the Arsenal books, which one would you say?
Ian Wright.
I think Wright's was the best as well, yeah. But yeah, I will give this 3 short back and sides, Eileen, for all of the reasons you just said. And I do, yeah, like Parlour is a likeable fella. But yeah, okay, I think we can probably declare a moratorium on Arsenal books at this point. Yeah,
okay, let's commit. We can do on episode 200, we'll do Tony Adams's book. We'll commit to that.
Unless Igor Stefanos has done a book. He got a 4-year contract out of that whole Dennis Bergkamp joke. That is absolutely brilliant. I say like a fella, we're saying that Ray Parlour got the best out of his skill. Igor Stefanos, what a legend that guy is.
Yeah. Who else has done it so well out of like some blind recommendation? Yeah, Ali Dyer.
Yeah, that's it, Al. We are back next week with a Wrong'uns draft.
Yep. Love to hate him, 5-a-side. Okay, and as a thank you, in our next book episode, we are doing The Soccer War by Richard Kapuscinski, a Polish writer. We're up to number 10 in the Polish football podcast chart, so jak się smash. You know that when everything Borat said was in Polish.
Oh, go on. I didn't.
Yeah. So jak się smash was just like, hello, how you doing in Polish? Yeah.
Yeah, and Richard Kapuscinski is not just any Polish writer. He was their foreign.
He befriended Che Guevara, Salvador Allende, and Princess Patrice Lumumba. Patrice Lumumba.
Yeah,
he was the Africa guy. I read a book about him once.
Congo. Yeah, he was. Kapuscinski was the foreign correspondent for a particular Polish newspaper, and he was just sent all over the world. This guy lived an amazing life, and he's written loads of books. I've read a few of them. Ooh. So yeah, I'm excited about this. And
look at this, Johnny. This is what in the blurb here. Richard Kapuscinski, I'm really struggling with that. He witnessed 27 coups and revolutions, and he was sentenced to death 4 times. Fucking cat with 9 lives. Oh, Richard Kapuscinski. Yep. God bless him.
Yeah, okay, that's up next. So we're leaving the world of Al books, and we're going to do.
Yeah, we're firmly in Johnny territory here, folks.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you very much, Al, and thanks again to Chris Etchingham. You're not blacklisted, Chris. That book was perfectly enjoyable.
It certainly was, Chris. And yeah, if you've got any more suggestions, please, any other listeners, please line them up for us. We're happy to do them.
Lovely. All right. Thanks, Al.
Thank you, Johnny. Cheerio.
Let your body spin like there is nothing in life but dancing. I can't keep my hands off you as if this looked like